Hello, I'm Heidi Steward, Deputy Director, with a briefing on the department's recent incident management response. The Durkee Fire was discovered on July 17th in eastern Oregon, just outside the town of Durkee. The lightning-sparked fire has burned more than 290,000 acres. A few days into the fire, we were notified it was heading towards the Snake River Correctional Institution. While there was no guarantee the fire would reach the institution or that an evacuation was imminent, it was necessary to start planning. So we activated an agency incident command team, also called an Emergency Operations Center, EOC, in addition to Snake River's local incident command team, which operated on site. For several days, we watched the fire closely and were in constant contact with local sheriffs and fire personnel, in addition to personnel working on the Durkee Fire Incident Command Team. The gift of time allowed us to develop a detailed plan for evacuation. While we did not have to evacuate the 2,840 AICs living at Snake River, we had a team of dedicated professionals ready to accomplish the enormous task. There are many who were involved in this incident response and who deserve recognition. Of course, the SRCI team who rose to the challenge. In addition to all the work they did preparing the facility for an evacuation and dealing with air quality issues, the institution continued to support their community by preparing food for Meals on Wheels as just one example. The transport unit immediately jumped into action when called upon in the middle of the night to leave their homes and head east for several days. All superintendents and institution staff across the state spent time developing plans to house AICs from SRCI. The Office of Population Management entered hundreds of 1206s, and many other central office staff assisted where needed. Sheriffs across the state helped by not sending new intakes to the department's intake center for a full week. A special recognition to the sheriffs of Malheur and Baker County for their time and advice along the way. We received support from both the Idaho and Washington Department of Corrections, who stood ready to send transport buses, bus drivers, and provide landing spots for AICs if we needed additional beds. Knowing our neighboring states had our backs during an emergency was a true testament to solidarity among corrections professionals. We will certainly do the same if they ever call upon us. And of course, local and regional fire departments and state fire marshal personnel were instrumental. I am grateful to those who served on the incident command teams and those of you who worked with our incident command team throughout the week. Now, I'll introduce Brian Steffen, DOC's Chief of Security and facilitator of our incident response, to share some of his knowledge.
Thanks, Heidi. One thing we're always reminded of after going through an emergency event is that the foundation of an effective incident management process is a clear and defined structure for the response. Regular training is essential for maintaining a prepared and effective management team. Certification in Incident Command System and National Incident Management System, followed up by regular, realistic training exercises, are critical. In high-pressure situations, clear communication is crucial. That's why during our training, we focus on the importance of a shared vocabulary. Let's break down how this works in practice. At the heart of our response strategy is the Incident Command System. This system ensures that everyone knows who to listen to and what their roles are. Here's how it functions. When an emergency occurs, the first person not directly involved takes charge. This initial commander directs the response until they can pass command to a more specialized responder, for example, a sergeant or the officer in charge. The term command signals who is currently in charge. This commander has the authority to direct the response. Responders follow their instructions to manage the situation effectively. I think it's important to stress this. Everybody who responds to the initial incident, whether it's a fight, a medical emergency, or something bigger, will have to process what they're seeing when they arrive. It's important for the first person on scene, who is able to take command, do so. They need to call for resources and announce they are in command. This is because they will be directing all other responders when those responders arrive. That initial commander has already processed what is happening and is able to point responders in the right direction. They can tell them where to go or what to do without the responder having to take time to process the scene. If an incident at a facility or worksite can't be resolved immediately, an incident command team is formed at the site of the incident. In the DOC, just as is built into the incident command system, we recognize the team at the site of the incident is likely best suited to resolve that event. When an incident command is created at a functional unit, the headquarters team will determine if the chief of security can support the commander or if HQ should stand up one of two things to assist: an Agency Operations Center, AOC, or an Emergency Operations Center, EOC. Here's how that decision-making worked with the Durkee Fire at Snake River Correctional Institution. If SRCI would have told us we need to evacuate immediately, HQ would have set up an Agency Operations Center, or AOC, to facilitate the response. The SRCI team would have remained in command and on site, and the AOC back at headquarters would have facilitated that evacuation. But that wasn't the case. SRCI told us we are at risk of needing to evacuate in 1 to 4 days. With this more long-term situation, HQ formed an Emergency Operations Center that worked with SRCI's Facility Incident Command Team, or IC. This was done to orchestrate statewide and interstate responses at the state level while dealing with local needs at the IC level. In this EOC situation, the on-site incident commander still leads locally, but the agency incident commander directs the overall response, ensuring all sites are aligned and effective. By understanding how the incident command system works and how communication flows, we improve our ability to keep everyone, staff, visitors, and the public, safe and well informed.
When we follow best practices, DOC's functional units and agency incident command teams are prepared to respond to any emergency. Thank you to everyone who made our emergency response to the Durkee Fire so successful.